It's proudly organized by the Bernard Elbernard Ministries. Sorry. And when you look at the advertisement, we have encapsulated a couple of things. We have in there, we have entrepreneurship, and we are topping up with the prophetic. This is because our father, Prophet Bernard Elbernard, has the vision of growing and mentoring men, godly men, to take their rightful position. So I want you to buckle up because it's going to be a marathon. We have 5 speakers. They are all prepared, anointed by God to deliver. So please, with a round of applause, let's welcome our MC for the day, George.
Give it up, give it up, give it up. Welcome, gentlemen, to Men Only Prophetic Gathering. Without wasting much time, my name is Osei Sapon. I'm going to be your moderator for this morning. Hallelujah. So we're going to listen to the introduction of the first speaker. So without wasting much time, please, can we listen to the introduction of the first speaker, please? All right, so with a round of applause and innovation, let's welcome our first speaker for today, A.A. Opoku.
Good morning.
Platform, an educational institute focused on raising the next crop of exponential thinking. Popularly known as Official Kwame. Kwame A.A. Opoku is a futurist, global business keynote speaker, brand architect, public speaking coach, serial entrepreneur, and a social media digital marketer. He is the CEO of Mary & Mary Global Partners, a leading Kwame A.A. Opoku, popularly known as Official Kwame. Kwame A.A. Opoku is a futurist, global business keynote speaker, brand architect, public speaking coach, serial entrepreneur, and a social media digital marketer. He is the CEO of Mary & Mary Global Partners, a leading communications marketing and PR firm. He is also the co-founder and lead curator of WE Festival Africa. He is also the founding president of Institute of Future Learning and Innovations, a collaborative learning platform and educational institute focused on raising the next crop of exponential thinkers and innovators. In the year 2017 alone, he made a record of 69 speaking presentations. He also made appearances on global stages such as TEDx, Africa Business Day, United Nations Day, and the Ghana Youth Summit. He has also shared stage with globally recognized leaders and speakers such as John C. Maxwell, Her Excellency Samira Bawumia, Lucy Quest, Uche Ifodele, Ketura Ken, and a host of others. He also won the Most Coveted African Youth of the Year at the African Youth Awards 2017, crowning him the most impactful and hardworking man on the continent. He is currently the Vice Chair, West Africa for the Young CEOs Business Forum. He is head of all YCBF related projects within the West African region, making him head of operations in 16 countries. Gentlemen, with a round of applause and a standing ovation, welcome Kwame A.A. Opoku.
Business speaker, so I'm going to hit you with a lot of technical terms, so be prepared for that. I want to take a little bit of a time to recognize the amazing, magnanimous man of God that we've been blessed with here in Ghana. In every generation, God raises a voice, and we are blessed and we are privileged to have such a man sit in front of us and be the visionary that's championing the cause of God. So if you don't mind, with a standing ovation, can we recognize and celebrate Prophet Bernard Elbernard Nelson-Eshun. He's been a father figure to me. He's been an amazing mentor. He's been a supporter of everything that we do. And he's also my group chairman in Concept 360, so we do business. But he's a father forever. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm humbled. Can we please do it for him once more? You may take your seat. There's one thing that the team has been very consistent with, and they've told me that my time cannot exceed what I've been given. So I'm going to try my best to crunch everything in the next 18 minutes, 47 seconds. As a futurist, and I just want to give a bit of perspective, the work that I do is to look at qualitative and quantitative data to sort of, assign probabilities to what's going to happen in the future based on what we know today, right? So we're not prophets. We do not predict what's going to happen because we don't use anointing. We use data, and we say that based on what's happening today, this is what we think is going to happen tomorrow. I want us to have a quick conversation about the future of money and wealth creation. These two guys, so I start by saying this. The average Ghanaian earns 1,838 Ghana cedis according to the global salary average. You can check that online. The average Ghanaian makes 1,836 Ghana cedis. These two guys, they made 300 million every month. They worked together for 5 years, and they sold which app? Who knows which app they sold? Anybody? I can hear you. WhatsApp. Great. So they sold WhatsApp to Mark Zuckerberg for $19 billion. This guy on the top here flew United Airlines. When he arrived, he realized that his guitar was broken. He wrote to them and he said, "Hey guys, you've broken my guitar. I want a replacement for it." They never got back to him. He tried so much. They still didn't respond. 3 days after that, he recorded a song, put a song on YouTube. 3 days after the song was put on YouTube, it went viral, and the market cap of United dipped by $150 million. Last year, when they dragged the doctor down here on the plane, their market dipped by $450 million. I'm going somewhere, so follow me. When late last year, when the year was about to end, we all saw what happened with Nivea. How many of us paid attention to this? How many of us saw it, tweeted to it, anything? I'm doing this with you, so please help me. Nivea put up something that the entire continent thought that it was racist. Fuse ODG kicked it, and then the rest of it joined, and then it became a hashtag, pull it down. After they did that, their African market cap has dropped by about $10 million by one social media tweet. What I'm driving at is that our belief and what we know about business that used to work before don't seem to work anymore because of technologies and how they are empowering people. The conversation I want us to have today is how can we connect people to prosperity? So I'm going to focus on key two things. I'm going to focus on people, and then we're going to focus on prosperity. Let's start with people. But a bit of perspective, an intro has been done, so I don't need to go into it. The book you see on the left will be released later this year, 150 Jobs of the Future. We're trying to prepare Africans for jobs that are coming that we have no idea about. As I'm talking to you, the 150 jobs that I've stated in this book, there's not a single MBA program in the world that's teaching anybody anything to be prepared for it. As I speak to you, there were 10 jobs. There are about 100 jobs that 10 years ago didn't exist. How many of us know that 10 years ago there was no such thing as drone pilot? Uber driver, social media marketer, digital marketer. None of those things existed. 10 years later, they are very much within the scope of what we call business, and this is going to continue. Earlier this year, on the 1st of January, I released the African 2020 document. Is free. You can download it. I think when I'm done, Mr. Mickey would be able to share that with you. I'm also about to go on tour. I have a big support from my mother here, Mama Mimi. I would get to her very soon because she's part of my presentation. And we're going on tour in 7 countries, and we're telling people that this is what's happening, and this is how we should position ourselves as entrepreneurs, business people, and innovators to create wealth for the continent. So that's why I have this slide. What has happened with business? So this is where the presentation itself starts. What has happened with business is all businesses operate from a scarcity domain, right? When people don't have supply and demand, the world big graph, supply and demand, the intersection is where we get profit. But that is changing a lot. And so in certain businesses, we've even had people go ahead to create artificial, hoarding of things. Let me give you a practical example. When Daddy is about to do an event which is exclusive and he releases tickets, we have people who go and buy the tickets in bulk and hoard it. And then on the day when people come, they sort of lift the price up, so scarcity. That's how we work. But that is changing. I put this slide up because I want you to know, how many of us have a smartphone? Show of hands. If you don't have a smartphone, I would have let them walk you out. Thank you. For everybody who is here who has a smartphone, this is what you did. As at the year 1982, for you to have video conferencing, the thing that we're able to do with WhatsApp video or Skype, it cost $586,000 to have that installed. Only big companies and governments could do this. Only the UN had the kind of budget that can do that. GPS, the one that allows you to order Uber, and the tiny thing that's in your phone today, cost about $119,000 to have it. If you wanted a digital voice recorder that you could do on any phone, it cost you $2,500. You can see the rest of it there. Today, all of that has been shrinked into your phone. Right? So in order for you to have a phone, if we're supposed to take all the gadgets out, you'll be holding 11 gadgets. You have your calendar, you have your watch, you have everything hanging, and it's cumbersome. You can't do that. But once you move from scarcity and you go into abundance, this is what happens. But also to let you know, congratulations, because you're buying a phone, 11 companies have gone out of business. They don't exist anymore. This quote by David Rose, he's called the Archangel of New York, one of the biggest angel investors in the world. He says that any business that's designed for success in the 20th century is not going to survive in the 21st century, period. Because what seems to work doesn't work anymore. The other thing that I want you to know is that we've moved from physical products. So all business started with physical products. I give you product, you give me money for value, or you give me value for value. And then we moved into an area where even if it was physical products, so like Kindle and Amazon, the products are physical, but the revenue streams are all information-based and are enabled on the internet. And then we've totally moved to a place where it's totally information-enabled. So companies like Facebook, Twitter, Uber, Airbnb, all these companies, Jumia, Tonaton, Andela, all these companies are fully information-based. Revenue streams are fully information-based. And we don't transact any physical cash with them, but we're fully doing business. This is a market cap of how many companies hit $1 billion cap. Now, in the 20th century, for a company to become $1 billion company, you needed at least 20 to 35 years in order for you to become $1 billion cap. It is changing at an outrageous rate. The company Snapchat hit $1 billion cap in less than 11 months. They started a company in January. By November, they had $1 billion cap value. That has never happened in the world of business. And so everybody is going crazy. If you look at radio, when radio came, it took about 3 years for it to hit 50 million users. When Facebook came, it took about 7 months to hit 50 million users. And then a company came up called Angry Bird. How many of us know the Angry Bird game? Angry Bird, you play it? Angry Bird hit their 50 million users in 35 days. It has never happened before. For a company to be able to launch and in 35 days acquire 50 million customers. Like I said, follow me, I'm going somewhere with this. So in this conversation that we're having, what does technology bring to people? What can you do today with technology? In Africa, it is known that over 80% of us use only 10% of the functionality of our phones. And I can prove that to you if I take your phone and show you some of the things you can do with it that you have no idea. And so technology is giving us a lot of, ability to create and do more, but we just don't know. I'm going to play you a video. Don't be alarmed. It's an accident video. It's a very short video. Nobody dies. But I want to show you the power that technology is bringing to people. Remember, we're talking about people and prosperity. So I'm going to play the video, watch it, and then Mickey, we're going to play it again. And then I'll make my point. Let's look at the video. It's not playing? Okay. So what happens in this video is there's going to be an accident. This is actually the dash cam of the Tesla car. We all know about the electric cars that Elon Musk is trying to put out. How many of us are aware of that? Great. In the video, there's an accident. But 1.17 seconds before the accident happens, the car is able to detect that the accident is about to happen, and it automatically stops the car. This car is available today and you can purchase it. Imagine what this can do for our roads and the accidents we can prevent. But that is technology enabling a lot of growth. We're seeing a different trend. For those of us who went into school to study business, we know of macroeconomics and microeconomics. But now we're seeing the rise of nanoeconomics. And what that allows us to do is that we're able to measure incremental value creation chain within businesses. What I mean practically, and not putting a lot of English together, is today you can get people to do works for you in any of the platforms that you see there for less than $5. How many of us have used Freelancer or Fiverr or any of those platforms where you go online and you pay and people do stuff for you? Anybody? 99 designs. Okay, one person here. So what it means is that the conversation that I am having, a lot of us are not aware. If you go on Fiverr today, you can get a graphic designer who will do a whole brand manual for you for less than $30. And if you go on a website like 99 Designs, what they actually do is you can go in soft and say that I want a design for my church. They're going to put that in the community. 100 designers are going to design the logos for you, and you're going to choose the one you want. So we're seeing an oversupply scenario where freelancing and nano-economic enabled platforms like this are changing the way we do business. The other thing that I want you to also know about is virtualization. Anybody worn the virtual reality gear before, the Samsung VR gear? Any of us? 2 people, 3, anyone? 4, 6. Oh, great. So for those of us who've worn this, you sort of have an idea. For those of us who haven't, please go and look for it and experience it. It will blow your mind. But the reason why I put the virtualization up is that I need you to know that because of virtualization, we are creating new business models and we are creating new asset classes that I can promise you that none of us are aware of it. Let me give you a typical example. This is Planet Calypso. Planet Calypso is a planet in a game. It's in a virtual game that people pay $1 and $2 to come online and play. Now, they play it with a virtual gear. So you go in there and you conquer different universes. And as you conquer, the wealth that is in the universe becomes yours. And that's actually paid to you in real life. That is where gaming has gotten to. A company bought this planet in the game for $6 million. And for a lot of you, that will sound like, what kind of nonsense is that? It will shock you to know that in less than 8 months, they made 100% ROI. So in less than 6 months, he got $12 million from buying a planet in a game. If you're a businessman sitting here today, or if you're an investor, is this something you're paying attention to? And we're seeing more and more of such things come up. What is happening then is we're seeing that ownership is going down. How many of us came here today with an Uber? By show of hands. Uber. How many of us have used an Uber in the last week? Great. That's what you're doing is called a sharing economy, where we all jump in and we share other people's resources. So with Uber, you're sharing cars. We have other platforms where you can share other things. And what is going to happen is over time, people are going to stop owning things because it will not be necessary. You can have it as and when you need it. So ownership will go down. Virtualization is going up. We're seeing a lot of VR come up. Decentralization is also going up. I'll get there shortly. Asset value is going down. And production cost is also going down. How many of us have heard of 3D printing? 3D printing, anyone? Great. So there's a company out of China called Winson. Winson in 24 hours can 3D print 10 houses. Now in construction, we know that for you to complete a building, it will take you 2 to 3 months. Block, mortar, laying, bit by bit. The mason will come, the painter will come. Winson does it in 24 hours. And the house costs $5,000. So production cost is also going down. And all this is happening under our nose, and we have no idea. Let me introduce you to blockchain, because for a lot of people who have the conversation about cryptocurrency, I think they miss the essential. The most impactful thing about cryptocurrency and all forms of digital currency is this platform called the blockchain. So the blockchain sort of decentralizes peer-to-peer transaction and allows us to be able to do business with each other without having a middle person. Bill Gates made a very important statement. He says that banking is necessary, but banks are not. We've seen Capital Bank, they're out. We've seen UT, they're out. I asked you a question to verify this. What is your most preferred method of payment? Just shout it out. Let me hear. I can't hear you. So that's a consensus from all of us that we don't want to go to banks anymore, but we want to be able to transact business. If you're in the financial business, you are finished. I promise you, you're finished. If you're in the insurance business, you are not even part of the conversation anymore. So I introduce you to cryptocurrencies. We've seen this come up. A lot of us know about Bitcoin. For those of us who are catching on, we're hearing about Ethereum and Ripple and Litecoin. There's one that I like the most because of how it sounds. It's called a SIA coin. I feel like it's a good coin I want to invest in just because of the name. What is cryptocurrency, by the way? I'm going to run through it very, very quickly. Cryptocurrency is digital money created from a code. So please, cryptocurrency is not money. It's not fiat currency. That's what you need to understand. It's code money. It's money that exists only online. And so for everybody who's going, I give this warning before I jump in. Every high profit making investment comes with high risk. Put that at the back of your mind. If anybody tells you that you can invest in cryptocurrency with no risk, they are lying. Run away from them. So it's generated from that. It is free from all government oversight, and all the governments are freaking out now because they can't regulate and they cannot take tax on it. So everybody is freaking out about it. But it allows us to be able to transact and control our own money. It's encrypted straight of data. The rest of it is there. We know that Bitcoin is bigger than this. This presentation is a bit old. If you go deep into it, and what I'll do is when I'm done, if Daddy allows it, I'll share the slide with you if you want, so you can go through it yourself. I want to really make a point though. Satoshi Nakamoto, who created Bitcoin, did not actually create a currency. He actually wanted to create sort of an enhanced version of PayPal that allows peer-to-peer transactions with no middle person. So in order for you to do PayPal, you need to have a bank account or a card connected to it. And that means that the Federal Reserve basically still controls you. What he wanted to do was to be able to create and allow us to be able to transact business without any middle person. After he created the platform successfully, they realized that the unit cost of what we're using to transact could become valuable. And that's how Bitcoin came up as a currency. And when Bitcoin took off about 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to have 100 of it for 500 cedis. The current Bitcoin, what's the current Bitcoin price, please? Those who've invested. 10,000. If I had 100 Bitcoin by now, maybe I wouldn't be at this conference. How it works, you can see it there. How it goes through, how the system is done. Everybody in the blockchain system confirms what's happening before it's fully completed. So we are now the Federal Reserves. Your computer, my computer, your phone, and my phone. We sort of confirm the transaction. Nobody can cheat anybody. Late last year, the UN used it to send aid. They used Ethereum to send aid. And guess what? Nobody can steal money anymore because everything is coded and everything is transacted, and you can't steal anymore. These are my 3 takeaways. I have less than 2 minutes to go. What should you do from everything I have said? These are my recommendations. Number 1, reflect on any product or service, right? And then ask yourself whether the virtual, digital, or connected version exists. So for instance, the bookshops. Amazon created Amazon Kindle. That's the digital form of the physical thing, and they've disrupted. Music. iTunes, Spotify. Now in Ghana we're seeing Kisima and Good Music and all of those. That's their way of trying to digitize music. So think about your industry. What is a product or service in there that is not digitized yet? Go and create that platform immediately. It's a huge business opportunity. A lot of us have not realized that with the advent of the MP3 player and then the pen drive and then platforms like iTunes and being able to put music on our laptops and our phones has totally disrupted Sego Lane. You know, when we used to go rent movies and bring them home, remember? We don't use it anymore. Netflix has messed everything up. YouTube, totally. My good friend here, PK, he can sit down in a day and download all the movies that are yet to be released. You know, so if you're in that business, you're finished. So think about that. The second thing you want to do is Uberization. Uberization is people want to have what they want when they want it without delay. So that's the reason why you rather take an Uber than a taxi, because you sit in your house, you press a key, the car arrives, you tell the car what you want to do, which music he should play, how high the AC should be, he should sing for you. You're able to do that. So you want to also think about how you can create a service that gets to the people as and when they need it. The final thing I want to talk about is swarm economics or crowdsourcing. Just yesterday, the Black Panther movie, one guy, Frederick Joseph in Harlem, put together a GoFundMe account and raised $400,000 to take 38,000 kids to watch the movie. And people all over the world, 41 countries, donated to the fund, and they've been able to do that. So you want to also check out crowdfunding or crowdsourcing. If you have a business, you're looking for financing, you're not getting it from a physical, you can go to a platform like Kickstarter or GoFundMe, and they'll give you the money for it. Thank you so much for your time. I think I've been able to do seconds more to go.
A round of applause for our speaker. All right, so Kwame, please kindly join me here. We'll take some few questions and then you'll be out of here. So please, I'm taking only 2 questions. We have 5 minutes and we can take only 2 questions. So please, kindly help me, ushers. Any question for Kwame? Please ask questions, please. All right, so there's one here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kodanko Hammond. I want to ask very beautiful presentation, but looking at all the presentation that you have made, the start of all that you have done, most of what we are noticing now is based in Asia or the Europes or the America.
Yeah.
So how do we relate what you have presented to us in the African context? Because going online, building data, doing things with what you are presented in Africa, to me, is a bit limited. So how, as the African youth, can I be connected to such a thing so that I can maximize what is being presented?
Absolutely fantastic question. So I get this a lot. And in most of my presentations, I use these kind of examples because they've sort of pivoted and they've sort of scaled. However, a company like Andela is in Nigeria. A company like Tonaton and Jumia is in Ghana. Tonaton is basically eBay and Alibaba copy and paste to Ghana, right? So for you as an innovator, the one thing that I tell people is whatever industry you're in, go Asia, go America, look at the platforms that they are building there, copy and paste and come and wait. Let me give you a good example. Netflix is basically Iroko. How many of us know Iroko TV? Right? Netflix is Iroko. He just focused on Nigerian movies or African movies. And now the guy is, according to Forbes last year, $32 million rich. So as an African person, I give this example because as Africa, we never join a platform in the beginning. Never. We are always late. We are, 20 years, we'll join later. We never come. So for you as an innovator, what the work we're doing presents you is you are able to take the lead. And if you're in business, you know the advantage of first mover when you move first. It's the reason why every toothpaste in this country is Pepsodent. Every chocolate drink is Milo. Because they monopolized and they were the first movers. So they have that advantage. So you look at the presentation, you look at the businesses that are excelling, you copy, paste, fit into Africa and wait for them to catch on. Once they catch on, you blow up.
Thank you very much. Next question, please. Can I see the hand? One more question. All right, there's a hand here, please.
Thank you very much, brother. There is this thing I would want to ask. Very recently, not long ago, BOG came out to talk about cryptocurrencies, trying to tell everybody that if you go in at your own risk. There's something in Ghana here. When you're trying to bring anything new and people don't understand it, they will try as much as possible to sabotage it. Yes, there are people doing most of the things that if you try to bring Ghana here, the next day they might even imprison you. So how do you combine this sort of attacks with innovation? Thank you.
So this is a global problem. This is not even a Ghana problem. The Bank of America is fighting it. Uber, even the taxi drivers are beating the Uber drivers. It's called the Einstein-Long effect. There's a resistance to change whenever you want to move the system. Let me give you a good example. Do you know that in 1986, over 80% of the world, 82% of the world were farmers? Look at how that has transitioned. The system always wants to fight innovation. The reason why the banks are freaking out is because cryptocurrency takes the power from them and puts it in your hand, and they cannot have that. Immediately you do that, you destabilize the system. However, in this country, there is no stipulated law in our constitution that forbids you from investing your hard-earned money into a place that you deem fit. So that's one. You cannot let the fear of intimidation stop you from innovating. It would never happen. Elon Musk has been trying for the last 5 years to get the license to try Hyperloop. They didn't give him. Facebook has been trying, Google has been trying Google Loon. They didn't give him. They came to Kenya and Rwanda, and both of them are testing it out in Africa. So it's just the nature of when you try to disrupt, the system will attack you, the immune system of governments. Imagine one of the guys that I learned from in school, Singularity University, he's been tasked to disrupt the Vatican. Imagine the trouble he's going through. He wants to take all the data and take it digital. They're like, this book cannot be touched. This is for only the Holy Fathers. You cannot touch this. That's innovation attacking you. But you cannot let that stop you. You need to push. Eventually, they will jump on. And when social media came, our parents thought we were mad. Now our grandmothers are on Facebook. That's my answer.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Kwame A.A. Opoku. Please, you may kindly take your seat. Thank you very much. We're going to move straight to the next speaker. So, thank you very much. A round of applause as he takes his seat, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kwame. All right, so we're going to go straight to the next speaker. Sorry. And I would entreat the technical team to give us the introduction of the next speaker. Thank you very much.
Dr. Philemon Mentor is a physician specialist, IT therapist, public health education specialist, health researcher, the host of Time with Dr. Phil, your most authoritative health talk show. He's the medical director of Fulton Medical Center, Accra, Ghana, from 2014 to date. Member of the Medical Committee, Ghana Olympic Committee, 2016 to date. He is also the Deputy Chairman of the Medical Committee for the Ghana Weightlifting Federation from 2015 to date. The Team Doctor, Management Member and Head of Medical Department for the Dreams FC from 2015 to date. He is also a fellow and a researcher of the West African Health Organization, medical consultant to J Initiative, an international non-governmental organization. Gentlemen, with a round of applause and a standing ovation, welcome Dr. Philemon Mensah.
Thank you, my dear brother, Prophet Bernard, Elbernard, Nelson-Eshun. It's indeed a privilege to have a brother. So let's give it up for our Papa. And my very lovely dear sister, Mimi Elbernard, Nelson-Eshun. God bless you. Right, so as men, we hardly have opportunities like this to discuss issues pertaining to our health and to impact on one another. And I hope to, by the end of my presentation, change your mindset about your health. Indeed, it so happens that matters of our health happen to be the last on our list of priorities. Let me ask this question. I believe beginning of the year, you made lots of resolutions. Oh, you want to invest in that, like Kwame was saying, cryptocurrency, do that, and all that. Listen, have you checked yourself as you sit here? Do you know what's happening to you? You could have all the great ideas. You could have the willpower to do all that, to achieve all that. Without health, would you be here? I believe that when you were told of this meeting, you planned to be here because you knew very well it was going to be informative. If you were bogged down with any illness, would you be here? Right, so your health is important. If you are here and you have no idea of the state of your health, my brother, you are doing a great disservice to your own self. So let's see by hand those who have checked themselves from January 1 till now. Let's see by hand. Wow. Oh, Prof, you've checked yourself. Okay. Less than 10% of us here. But I believe we have so much we want to achieve this year, right? Okay. That's a tough one, your HIV status. I know lots of us here just don't want to know. You're not bothered. You just don't want to know. Do you have an idea of your sugar level, your blood glucose levels? Do you know if your cholesterol level is shooting up the roof? Do you have an idea? If you are here and you are above 40, you've hit 40, and you have no idea of your prostate, if it's enlarged, if your PSA levels are going high, oh God, you are doing damage to your own self. Listen, you are here, you are a prophet, you are an evangelist, you are an investor. If any of your internal organs fails you right now, you will not be able to move an inch. So you realize that if you have no idea of the state of your liver, the state of your kidneys, these are the unseen things. You've gone to have a shave. You're looking prim and proper. But the very things you do not see, these things matter a lot. What's the state of your internal organs? Have you gone for a thorough check? Do you know your liver function? Do you know if your liver is functioning well? Do you know if your kidneys are doing good? Listen, should any of these organs fail you, you are going down. Sometimes it pains us as doctors when people come to us and their state is terrible. It's bad. And we realize these are needless stuff. It could have been avoided. Most of us here are young, and we need to put an end to these needless deaths, needless complications to our lives. So I say to you, the over 90% of us here who haven't gone for a check yet, please, right after this meeting, probably could do it on Monday, go to the nearest facility, health facility I mean, go get yourself checked. It is essential, critical. I like to borrow the words of the King Kong. It is acidic and corrosive. It is critical, my brothers. You need to know, go for a thorough check. Check your liver, check your kidneys, check your blood pressure. I bet a lot of us here don't even know if our BPs are rising or not. More importantly, if you have a family history of diabetes, your mom, your dad, your uncle, you have a family history of these chronic conditions, hypertension, diabetes, you need to pay attention because you are already at risk by 70% once you have a family history of these chronic conditions. So then your lifestyle, your diet comes at play. You cannot live a careless life. So a thorough medical check, do it at least 6 months, a year. Half of the year, check, get to know what's happening to you. End of the year, get to check what is happening to your health. Indeed, I tell people that of all the beautiful things we dream about, of all the aspirations and dreams you have, it is rather your health that is your wealth and not the pieces of gold and silver. Yes, your health matters above all. And another thing that is critical, because a lot of infections are coming up with our men. If you are here and occasionally you have burning sensations when you go to pee, if you are here and you have the urge to go pee, but you get to the point where or you pee,